Mrs. Anna Tucker Abrams, Acting Senior Director, Mitigation Planning and Research Division in the ODPEM, Mr. Evan Thompson, Director of the Meteorological Service Division, other heads of entities, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On a sound dead. I hear one good evening. We're in St. Anne, beautiful St. Anne. Good evening to you all. I'm Delmaris White. I'm the Director of Information and Training at the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, and I'll be your moderator for this afternoon. So I'm here to remind you that today we are in Runaway Bay, St. Anne, where we're staging the fourth Today we are in Runaway Bay, St. Anne, where we're staging the fourth leg in the series of public education and public relations interventions in parishes all across Jamaica. This meeting here in St. Anne marks the fourth of 14 parish interventions by the ODPEM, along with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and the Municipal Corporation, St. Anne. So we say welcome to our town hall meeting here today at McClure Hall, Runaway Bay United Church, Runaway Bay St. Anne, today, Thursday, July 28, 2022. We are streaming live on the GIS platform, PBCJ, ODPEM, and the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development social pages. Ladies and gentlemen, let me invite Reverend Walter Russell. Is Reverend Russell here? We're going to invite Mr. Ravel Morris. He's the CEO for the St. Anne Municipal Corporation, and he'll offer prayers. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before I pray, let me just read Psalm 24, 1 and 2. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. For he had founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods. We are here today to discuss matters pertaining to disaster and to the sustainable development of the area that we're in, namely Runaway Bay. And I ask you to stand as we pray. And we do hope that at the end of these deliberations with the agencies, that we'll have plans in place so that we can have a sustainable environment. Father, we thank you for your presence another time. We thank you for this town hall meeting where the citizens of Runaway Bay and its environs can come to hear the agencies and to hear matters pertaining to disaster preparedness. We pray, Lord God, that there be effective discussions and solutions, so at the end, we'll have a sustainable environment in this time. We tell you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge Councillor Winston Brown. He's the leader of the Minority Caucus in the St. Anne Municipal Corporation, and also Mr. Xavier Maine, Member of Parliament for South West St. Anne. So welcome. Okay, for some housekeeping matters, before we invite the mayor to bring the welcome, I have an announcement for the gathering here in St. Anne. The question and answer segment, which will come up later on for this town hall meeting, we're inviting persons who have specific questions that you want to ask that you may not want to ask openly. There's a secretariat located in the back that we have representatives from the SDC, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, and the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. They're sitting in the back on my right. If you're seated facing me, it is your left. So the officers will take your questions and they will read them aloud during the Q&A segment, where we will provide some answers or direct the questions to the relevant agencies or authority body. So we have the representative here today from the Jamaica Public Service. We have Mr. Roger Kennedy, Mr. Edwin Livermore, Mr. Orlando McCoy, Mr. Wayne Jackson, and we are told that Mr. LeVar Allen is on his way. So they're here to address any of your concerns in relation to the JPS. We now invite His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Sidney Stewart, Chairman of the St. Anne Municipal Corporation, to bring the welcome. Make him feel welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Honorable Xavier Maine, Junior Minister in the Ministry of National Security. Member of Parliament, Ms. Crystal Lee. My colleagues in the Municipal Corporation, members of the security force, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a wonderful occasion, I know this will be, and I'm honored to be welcoming and greeting you to, of course, the town hall meeting in St. Anne that speaks to disaster preparation and disaster management. Certainly, we would have known what is the result of disasters, and of course, the government is making a number of strides, particularly under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Desmond McKenzie. And this evening, I'm hoping and praying that we will have a peaceful, we'll have a fruitful discussion in relation to disaster. Certainly, I'm asking all of us to ensure that we come out of this very productive. God bless you. Good evening.
We now invite Xavier Maine, Member of Parliament for South West St. Anne, to bring remarks.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I too want to acknowledge in our presence today the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, our Minister of Local Government and Community Development, Member of Parliament for North West St. Anne, Crystal Lee, Councillor Sidney Stewart, Mayor for St. Anne's Bay, other elected officials here today, representatives from ministries, departments, agencies, community members, well-wishers. Good evening. I'm not listed on the program as a speaker, but I'm no intruder. I'm a relevant stakeholder in the parish, and I want to use this opportunity to commend the minister and his ministry for taking a seminar of this nature right across the country. The only way to mitigate the effects of a natural disaster is through preparedness. And for years, we have this department within the ministry has been advocating. But there are times when we would have seen certain occurrences, and you wonder, what of the good words, what of the warnings that we would have heard out of ODPEM? The severity and the frequency of weather patterns and weather systems have changed over the years. We are now having more rainfalls. We are hearing of all sorts of natural disasters that are threatening our mere existence. Climate change, they say, is an existential threat to our existence. And so I'm very grateful for this seminar. I'm grateful, Minister, that you recognize that there is value to be had in coming in St. Anne with this sort of sensitization. And I say to you, residents, this is an opportunity for you to learn. What you learn here today may be the lesson or the teaching that save your life. Thank you.
At this time, we invite Councillor Winston Brown, leader of the Minority Caucus, St. Anne, MC. Please make him feel welcome.
Honorable Minister Desmond McKenzie, Honorable Minister of State Xavier Maine, Member of Parliament Crystal Lee, His Worship the Mayor, Senior Stewart, councillors from the St. Ann Municipal Corporation, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I too want to say thanks to the Minister for taking this town hall meeting across the island. Because disaster is a thing that we are all should be prepared for. But a lot of us, we just take it so simple. We only wait until we have disaster, we start to put preparation in place. And I want to say, Mr. Minister, when I heard that the meeting would be in Runaway Bay, I said, well, that's a good area. Because I experienced a lot of time flooding in the Runaway Bay area. I am coming from the hill most time. And my problem is flooding like in the Cave Valley area. And in fact, pass through the Cave Valley area when during rain time, I always think about heading to Runaway Bay, what it's like. And I think it is really good for us to go out there and to sensitize the people about disaster. And ladies and gentlemen, I too, as a member of parliament, say, let us learn what we can learn from it this evening. And thank you.
We now invite Member of Parliament for St. Ann Northeast, Crystal Lee, to make her remarks. It is Northwestern. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, Ms. Delmaris White. Honorable Minister Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Minister Xavier Maine, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Sydney Stewart, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, heads of agencies and organizations here with us this afternoon, members of the media, pleasant good afternoon to you all. It is indeed a privilege right here to also welcome the Minister of Local Government once more and his team in St. Ann Northwestern. The minister that we have now has always been a hardworking and responsive minister. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, Minister, that when Runaway Bay was flooded in the heavy rains recently, you were here the very next day with your team, looking at what would have transpired, investigating, and now pretty much remedial work has actually begun. A round of applause, please, for the minister and his team. We have a very responsive and hardworking minister and team in the Ministry of Local Government. Now, as Minister Maine has stated, learning about disaster preparedness is indeed very important, and we welcome it here in our constituency. This is an area which really needs to know much more in terms of how we can prepare for this. Not only are persons here from the Runaway Bay area, but across the constituency, which is very good because it's important for us all to know what is happening, how do we prepare, what role we have to play in the process, and what your hard-working government is doing to ensure that the lives of our people are protected. Now, I just want to share with you a few things. Part of the thing in preparing for disaster preparedness is ensuring that drain work and good road infrastructure is also in place. Because, you know, once the road is mashed up, then of course it brings down, it also causes the drains to be blocked. It causes the water to divert to properties and areas where it really shouldn't be diverted to. And I just want to take this opportunity to announce that the Honorable Minister of Works had mentioned earlier, right, in July, that he would have been confirming road works for the Runaway Bay to Brownstown Road. And having spoken to the minister just 2 days ago, he confirmed that coming this weekend, the work should go, the first phase of that work should go to tender, to procurement. Round of applause. Imagine if the first phase of us getting Runaway Bay right there, going halfway through. Imagine us getting that done within the next 6 to 7 months. That is something that we're thankful for, and we welcome it in the area. In the interim, because procurement will take a time, we will take a time. And the reality is sometimes these procurement go as far as up to a year. However, the minister has confirmed to me that based on changes in the procurement process, it may take less time, perhaps 7 months. In the interim, emergency patching is underway for the Runaway Bay to Brownstown Road and also the Discovery Bay to Orange Valley Road. So those works will begin in short order. We know that the patching really doesn't last. But until we are able to do a full rehabilitation of the road network, we have to do that in the interim so as to make the surface more drivable, to prevent accidents and other situations from happening. Now, as a first-time member of parliament, I have seen a whole lot of things that can be caused by disasters, right? And natural resources just channeling in different directions. One such area is the road from Priory to Bamboo at Sleepy Hollow, where because of the river flowing once it rains, we had a slip away right there at Sleepy Hollow, a big breakaway. And I must announce this afternoon that that work was completed last week, where gabion baskets and a retaining wall was completed by the National Works Agency to protect our people. Now that roadway is secure, and we are advising that you drive with caution. You continue to drive with caution. So this is and even in the talk about disaster, the library area where it floods when it rains, that too causes our people a lot of distress. For over 20 odd years, that area, once the rain falls, entire surface there is flooded. People's businesses are flooded out. People's households are flooded out. And I must also thank the National Works Agency and to show you the work that the government has been doing to assist in fixing these issues. I must announce today too that that work has been completed, where a drain infrastructure has been put in place the week before last, and the entire surface has been paved. And we have been told by residents, and I've seen it too with my eyes, that it is working, because when the rain now falls, the entire water flows straight through the drain and out of the road. So that is some of the work that we have been doing. National Works Agency has assured me that on their tour with Minister McKenzie, they had given him some assurance of some of the work that they would have undertaken since the Runaway Bay flooding. And I would like to say that one such work that has been completed so far is the widening of the holes right at Runaway Bay, right where the wall is. That has been done, where it's now able to accept more water coming through. Now that was completed a few weeks ago, so when the water rushes down, we're hoping that more water will be able to go through. A proposal doesn't divert all over the place. That too should control the amount of water coming down. Those are some of the proposals that we're waiting on to come through, but I've just showed you that work has begun, work has started. We have a responsive team working with, and I would like to thank them all for the hard work and for being so responsive to me and my constituents. So ladies and gentlemen, we are here to listen to the various presenters, listen to the minister as he presents, and we're all here to learn. Thank you all for coming out, and God bless you all.
I think you should give Ms. Lee another round of applause. You're a member of Parliament for St. Ann Northwestern. A lot of information was shared with you in terms of what's happening at that level. Coming up now, we're going to have the presentations from the state entities. We have Jamaica Fire Brigade, NEMP, NWA, the Road Safety Unit, and the ODPEM. We're going to, I want to say, defer, suspend, wait a little bit, yeah, for the item. So we're going to take a couple of the presentations first, and then we'll have the poem for you. So let me then invite Mr. Anthony Hines. He's the Acting Assistant Commissioner for the Jamaica Fire Brigade, and he's going to make the first presentation. Please let him feel welcome.
Honorable, Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Members of Parliament, Crystal Lee, Crystal Lee and Xavier Maine, His Worship the Mayor, other councillors, head of agency, fellow presenters, a pleasant good evening to you all. Good evening to you all. Wonderful. The mission of the Jamaica Fire Brigade is to minimize loss of lives and promote public safety through the application of suitable technology by highly trained professionals working in close collaboration with stakeholders. As indicated in the Fire Brigade Act, the role of the Jamaica Fire Brigade is to protect life and property from fires and other emergency within the island and its territorial waters. The Jamaica Fire Brigade duties, as prescribed by law, includes extinguishing fires, protecting life and property endangered by fire and other disaster, and these disasters such as earthquake, floods, hurricane, windstorms, the escape of dangerous fumes or fluid, explosions, oil spill, and other dangerous pollutants in the air or sea. Thirdly, inspecting buildings to ensure that steps are being taken for the prevention of fires and for protection against the dangers of fires and other disasters. And these public buildings are office building, factories, warehouse, any building in which workers are employed, and building in which hazardous substance or material is stored, manufactured, or processed. Another duty of the fire brigade is making arrangements to ensure that reasonable steps are taken to prevent or mitigate loss of life arising from fires and other disasters. And our trained fire prevention officers are the individual to conduct these inspections. In the case of fire and other disaster, the Jamaica Fire Brigade is the government first responding agency for firefighting and search and rescue operation. The Jamaica Fire Brigade also collaborates with key agencies during disasters. And some of these agencies are the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Jamaica Defense Force, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Labor and Social Security, National Work Agency, Jamaica Public Service Company, National Water Commission, National Environment and Protection Agency, and also the Municipal Corporation. The Fire Brigade since 2018 in the parish of St. Ann respond to a total of 3,537 incident calls. Of the total calls responded to, 16% of these calls are structured fire related. I would just speak to the response capability of the Jamaica Fire Brigade in St. Ann Division. The St. Ann Division boasts an operation complement of 195 firefighters. Also 7 fire prevention officers and 6 assorted fire units. These resources are distributed across 3 stations in the parish, namely St. Anne's Bay, Ochireus, and Brownstown. Jamaica Fire Brigade has procured equipment such as inflatable rafts, and one of these rafts is assigned to the St. Ann Division, and firefighters So not only is the RAF assigned to the division, but firefighters are trained in water rescue to effectively operate these craft in times of need. The Jamaica Fire Brigade also procures specialized ropes, and all these ropes are, in fact, at all 3 fire stations in the parish. Chainsaws and other tools are available to treat with situation caused by hurricane and heavy rainfall. The Jamaica Fire Brigade also assists in damage assessment. We also possess portable pumps that is able to lift water from open source, such as rivers and seas. And all stations in the parish have one of these equipment. There's also hydraulic cutters available, and these critical piece of equipment is used to extricate persons, trap persons from motor vehicle accident, collision, and other related incidents. Firefighters are also trained to operate these equipment. And a perfect example of the operation was in that mass casualty accident that happened last Sunday morning. Some of the operational challenges that we face as an organization, especially in the parish of St. Ann, is our response capability in terms of travel distance when responding to incidents in certain parts of the parish. And this impacts significantly on response time. Also, the lack of our emergency medical service in the parish to render medical care to citizens, especially at motor vehicle accident. And if you look outside, you see that ambulance over there. That is the emergency response team from Trelawney, who is giving us some assistance now in the parish. Some plans to mitigate against these operational challenges going forward are to increase fire stations strategically across the parish. And in this regard, the Jamaica Fire Brigade and the Municipal Corporation in St. Ann are working together to identify suitable lands in the Claremont and the Alexandria area to erect new stations. The rollout of the emergency medical service in the parish. It must be noted that operational space for this critical service are already established at the St. Anne's Bay and the Ocho stations. Staff has been trained, and the brigade is now waiting the procurement of ambulances to roll out this critical service. These initiatives will certainly increase the response capabilities of the parish and, by extension, the Jamaica Fire Brigade going forward. I thank you.
Okay, thank you. You've just heard from the Jamaica Fire Brigade, reminding you that if you have questions during the Q&A, you can ask for the Fire Brigade and they'll give you other responses as you listen to that presentation. We apologize for Ms. Tracy Fakuri. She's running a little late, so I'm going to go to Mr. Richard Lunan, who is the Northeast Region Manager for the National Works Agency, and he's going to join us now. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, Mr. Desmond McKenzie, Minister Xavier Maine, MP, Ms. Crystal Lynn, MP, Crystal Lee, sorry. It's kind of full of joint on there. Yes. Ms. Crystal Lee, MP, Mayor Sydney Stewart, specially invited guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The mission of the National Works Agency is to plan, build, and maintain a reliable, safe, and efficient main road network and flood control system that protects life and property, supports the movement of people, goods, and services, reduces the cost of transportation, promotes economic growth and quality of life, and protects the environment. The scope of the mission includes the following: the main roads and bridge network, the flood control and sea defense systems inclusive of gullies and drains, all buildings, premises, and equipment operated and owned by the agency, provide support to other government departments and agencies, inclusive of ODPEM, the local authorities, the Jamaica Defense Force, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Plan is consistent with this mission. The NAA also has a disaster preparedness and emergency plan that documents the steps, procedures, and mechanisms to be activated as it relates to the responsibilities under disaster management. The NAA is involved in all the steps of the disaster management cycle, namely prevention, mitigation, preparation, emergency response, rehabilitation, and reconstruction related to its mandate. The road network system has vulnerabilities associated with severe weather events such as floods, breakaways, landslides, and damage to bridge supports. Challenges faced by the NAA in the management of the road network and drainage structures are associated mainly with poor waste management resulting in blocked drains and gullies, limited drainage capacity of some major drains, and the effect of climate change with the accompanying rise in sea levels. To assist in the planning and response to the natural hazards, the NAA has developed maps highlighting areas island-wide that are most prone to floods, storm surges, landslides, and sea level rise. At the commencement of the 2022 hurricane season, the NAA embarked on a series of activities to establish the agency's state of readiness. The first was the recruitment and orientation of staff to serve in the agency's Emergency Operations Center, EOC, which is activated in the event of a pending natural disaster. A review of the NAA's Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Plan was also conducted, along with a review of the agency's in-house fleet of equipment and equipment that would be available for hire. A meeting was also held with equipment contractors who would be relied on to support the NAA. In this regard, the following information is available: contact information and types of equipment available from contractors by parish island-wide. a listing of NAA equipment and operators by region and parish, contact information for all regional managers, parish and assistant parish managers. The NAA also embarked on its disaster mitigation program prior to the start of the season. It includes river training works, gully cleaning, and the cleaning of major drains island-wide. Under our drain cleaning program, other drains have also been cleaned since the start of the hurricane season. The program not only targeted critical drains along the main road network, but also some along parochial roads in all parishes. To this end, approximately 537 million has been allocated to be spent on mitigation works in this financial year, and approximately 157 million has been approved to be expended on drain cleaning activities island-wide. Some of the areas in St. Anne receiving attention are Alexandria to Greenock Bridge, Brownstown to Alexandria, Alexandria to 9 Miles, White River to Newstead Bridge, Hopewell to Ocherius, Bonnyvale to Ballintoy, Hopewell to Moneague, Moneague to Blackstonage, Runaway Bay to Orange Valley, Bambo to Brownstown, Bambo to Prairie, Brownstown to Stewartstown, Standfast area, Discovery Bay to Brownstown in the Dunbarton area, Moneague to Mount Diablo, Hopewell to Golden Grove, Moneague to Green Park to Bambo, Claremont to Harmonyvale, Davistown to Golden Grove, Harmonyvale to Pedro River. In closing, in the event of an imminent severe weather threat, the following decisions will be taken by the NAA. The setting up of the NAA EOC, Emergency Operations Center, the distribution of relevant equipment and emergency supplies to all officers in the parish, the mobilization of NAA heavy equipment and pre-positioning to strategic locations, the activation of all parish EOCs for response activities, and finally, contractors island-wide will be placed on standby. I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much again, Mr. Loon, and a very thorough presentation. Just a reminder that he's here to answer your questions during the Q&A. So if you have any questions for the National Works Agency, you can ask at that time. I would like to recognize in-house now Councillor Ian Bell, and also a representative from the St. Anne's Bay Hospital, Ms. Tanya Hampstead, and she's here to also take any questions that you will have later on. Let us get into the rest of the presentation. Tracy Fakuri is here now, so please make her feel welcome. She's the Regional Operations Manager for NEMP. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. The Honorable Minister Desmond McKenzie, Member of Parliament for this constituency, MP Lee, Minister Xavier Maine, and His Worship the Mayor, Sidney Stewart, all protocols observed. I see before me councillors, residents, fellow stakeholders, good evening to everyone. I am Tracy Fakuri. I represent the National Solid Waste Management Authority at this meeting this evening. While we are here to speak about disaster preparedness, my presentation will be a little different because I'm here to talk about the partnership between you, me, all of us, the producers of waste, and the NSWMA being the authority with the responsibility of the proper disposal of this waste. So climate change is something that we have been talking about for a very long time. It is something that each and every one of us is feeling the impact of. Our weather patterns have changed. As early as February of this year, we had an incredible amount of rainfall that significantly impacted this district, this community right where we are. All of these things are indications that 10 years ago, what we have grown accustomed to have changed. So I'm saying to you that disaster preparedness is not something that we start looking at in June. It has to become a way of life. How does solid waste fit into this picture? Of course, we partner with all stakeholders to pool all our resources, whether equipment or human resource, in the event that there is an emergency. However, I would like to see us get to the point where civic pride, how we manage the waste that we produce at home, becomes such a household topic. Things like waste separation, things like separating your plastics from your biodegradable waste, things like packaging your waste, storing the waste, containerizing the waste up to the time of collection. And I'm very deliberate when I say that, because I know I'll have a lot of questions later on, and I'm here to deal with them. However, we all play a role. Even I at home, being the regional manager, have to play a role in what is presented to our sanitation officers and our drivers at the time that they pull up to do the collection. So I'm inviting a conversation on how we can reduce the amount of waste that we actually put out for collection, how we can protect our waste, how we can reduce the amount of plastics and garbage that gets into your drains, which is what is going to block the drains, which is what is going to create flooding and all manner of disastrous events. So it's a partnership. Yes, I know the garbage trucks don't come on time. Yes, I know sometimes even 2 weeks pass. That's the longest, right? All right, okay, we'll deal with that later on. While I'm saying we have issues that internally we are working on. And one thing I know that everybody will agree, we have the greatest, strongest, most active minister of local government. I thought everybody would be clapping. Right. Good. So, through this minister, before the end of 2022, NSWMA will receive 50 new trucks. No clap? Right. So what that means for this community is for certain you'll see a more regular, a more consistent type of collection. So I'm asking for your continued patience. I am asking for you to take it easy on me later on, knowing that I share your concerns. I deeply share your concerns. And we're doing the best. Yes, we are doing the best we can with the resources we have right now. But it's important that we appreciate that we all play a part in this protecting this beautiful island that we call Jamaica, our home. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, we'll take Dante Matthews, Education and Information Officer at the National Road Safety Unit.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Mr. Xavier Maine, MP, Miss Crystal Lee, MP, and Councillor, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Sidney Stewart, residents, other stakeholders, good evening. All right, so the Road Safety Unit seeks to foster a safe traffic environment for all road users. We do this through crash analysis and investigation, public education at schools and also events such as this, and activities that will influence legislation. Now, road safety is everybody's business. While coming to this event, I was on Landover Main Road, and I saw a car tailgating another car, and at the moment where the car in front was about to break up, the car behind had to swerve. And when that car swerved, if a pedestrian was on the soft shoulder, or if a vehicle was coming down that soft shoulder where they shouldn't be, a collision would have happened right there. Right there. And so my presentation will take the form of statistics, concerns regarding our roads and road users, and public education thrust of the Road Safety Unit. Now, last year, we recorded 487 deaths on the nation's roads. That's from crashes, not gunshots, not sickness, from crashes. 487. And of that number, 25 were children. This year, as at this morning, we're in July. Today is the 28th day of July. We're at 277 deaths. And all of us would have been aware of what took place on Sunday on Landover Main Road. And you know, when I saw well, not the video, but when I was coming up early and I saw what took place with the car tailgating, and I said, look where I am, Landover Main Road. And it's a hot spot based on statistics, a hot spot in St. Anne. So let me tell you some of the hot spots in St. Anne. So we have Landover Main Road. So far for this year, St. Anne recorded 27 deaths. And that's a parish with the fourth highest number of deaths so far. Landover Main Road, 6. So 14 of the 27 happened on a hotspot area. So Landover Main Road, 6. Draxhall Main Road, 2. Runaway Bay Main Road, 2. Edward Siaga Highway, 4. And that totals 14 of the 27 that took place on a hotspot area. Now, of the 27 fatalities recorded in St. Anne, guess how many were males? 22. So 22 of the 27 were males and 5 were females. So we're losing fathers, sons, brothers, you know, breadwinners in the family. We're losing them. They're not no caution, speeding, which is the #1 cause of most of these fatalities, failure to keep to the proper traffic lane, pedestrians walking out into the road or getting hit by a moving vehicle. Now, based on other statistics, of the 277 deaths total for the island, motorcyclists account for the highest with 73, followed by private motor vehicle drivers with 64, and then we have pedestrians with 57. Now, based on the statistics also, St. Anne has the highest increase when compared to last year. So last year, at this time, the corresponding period was 16, and this year is 27. So that's the parish with the highest increase. And so we have to be careful on our roads. I know that takes me to the top 3, which I mentioned: motorcyclists, pedestrians, private motor vehicle drivers. The motorcyclists not wearing helmets. And if they're doing helmets, it's some of those, you know, those ones that look like plate cover. So if they should crash off a bike, it just falls off. The proper protective equipment. So you find that they're wearing shorts, slippers, all of those short sleeve shirts, shorts, no knee pad, no elbow pad, nothing. So when they crash off a bike and they're being drawn on the ground, their skin is torn. The St. Anne's Bay Hospital will tell you the amount of patients that they have to treat and the category of road user that they fall under. In June, we had an outside broadcast at the St. Anne's Bay Examination Depot, and we had an orthopedic surgeon who did an interview, and he mentioned the amount of injuries and the bed spaces that have been taken up because of road crash injuries, basically. Persons treating cuts on knees and elbows and all of that. They're taking up spaces in the hospitals. For the private motor vehicle drivers, no seat belts. No seat belts, texting and driving. Shutter driving. Fast car, want to show off. Pretty girl in the car, so you have to show the pretty girl that you can drive fast. Showing off because you're a big driver and you have your driver for 10 years and 20 years. So because you have your license for so many years, you can't meet in an accident. Foolishness. And you know, that takes me back to the campaign that we did that completed the other day. Stop the foolishness campaign. Because what has been happening on our roads, what our road users have been doing, complete foolishness. And so for the pedestrians now, walking, just going across the road. And you know, a lot of persons like to ask, you know, these pedestrians when they're crossing, if them ever see a car in a hospital. Or if them can grease car wheels. So it's very important as road users that we take caution. So if we have relatives at home who ride motorcycles, or drive motorcycles, I should say, ensure that they wear a helmet. And not only the motorcyclist, but the pillion passenger as well. And it should be one pillion passenger. Two persons should be on the bike, the motorcyclist and the pillion passenger. Not 3, not 4, not 5. And we've seen cases like that. Another issue with them, they remove mirrors from the bikes. Why would you remove a mirror from the bike? How do you see behind? How do you see what's going on behind? And we get to understand that they remove the mirrors so that they can get through traffic easily. Apparently, removing the mirrors make the bike slimmer. So when you're in traffic now, you see them just passing you. They remove headlights. They remove the silencers from the motorbikes as well. So those gunshot sounds you hear from the bikes, disturbing communities, disturbing hospitals, schools, all of those things. Another issue is nights, wearing dark clothing at night. There are areas where there are no street lights, or if there are street lights, they are far apart. So imagine you walking on the road in a full suit of black. You're blending in with the dark. As my friend here would say, dopey. The cars coming don't see you, so they have on the headlights, you know. But that motorist is so busy texting and driving, they don't see you. By the time they see you, you're already on the floor. Another thing with children also, they like to play, you know, last lick when they're coming from school and they play on the street. Parents, advise their children not play on the road. Walk in single file. Cross when it is safe. You know, when we go to the schools and we do the presentations and we ask them, how do you cross the road? Up and down. So I ask them, show me up. So they point into the sky. I say, show me down. They point on the ground. And so we have to be reinforcing, you know, you look right, you look left, then you look right. And so we ask them, why do you look to your right first? And you know, we have brilliant students in Jamaica. So they say, all right, we drive on the left-hand side of the road. So the traffic closest to you would be on your right. And so our public education continues in schools. We did St. Anne in May. We did schools in St. Anne and we did some in June as well. And so if you have a school or if you have, let's say, a parent-teachers association, because we need to talk to the teachers as well and the parents, invite us to come in and talk. We have the videos. We have our presentations ready. And one thing we do when we go into the schools, we teach the curb drill, and we usually go with officers from the public safety and traffic enforcement branch, and we teach what is known as the curb drill or the hand in the air drill. So that teaches the students how to cross using the hand, which makes them visible. And it works. Another thing is in the back seat. The children tend to don't want to put on their seat belts in the back. And the overloading of cars. I asked them how many persons supposed to be in a car. One student said 7, one said 8 in a regular 5-seater. So when that happens, you can't put on the seatbelt because everybody's lapping up and there are 5 persons in the back, in addition to the motorist and the passenger at the front. And then you have going in trunks. And some of them like it. They go into the trunks of vehicles. And we ask them why. Because it's fun. So I asked them, what happens when a car slams into the trunk? That's when they start to think and say, oh. So one student said, me not go back in no more trunk. And so we have to reinforce these safety measures, not only for children, but for adults. We have different types of road users: motorcyclists, motorists, pedestrians, passengers, pedal cyclists, disabled road users. And so we have to play our part, looking out for each other, being our brother's keeper. And remember, when you're driving, do you want to make it home? Do you have children that you love that you want to go home to? Do you have a spouse that you love that you want to go home to? Do you want your children to grow up without a father or a mother? So think on these things and remember always that road safety begins with all of us. And so, as I mentioned earlier, if you're having an event, if you work at a school or if you want the road safety unit to come to your event, we have the resources, we have the literature, we have our videos, and we come and we educate our children and other stakeholders. So everywhere possible. And I'm so grateful for the invitation to be here because we want to educate you as well. And I'm hoping that after today, everyone here will be safe road users. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for Dante Matthews. Under the guidance of our minister, when we do these public forums or town hall meetings, when we go into the communities, we have included on the agenda road safety, and you can hear why, right? So when he talked about all the things they removed from the bike, I didn't know there was a bike left. Because I'm saying, come on, but you have this problem in St. Anne too, and I think it's island-wide. So we're asking you to speak to your children so that they'll make sure that they do the right thing. Another direction from the minister is that we also include health on the agenda. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Tucker Abrams for a few minutes while we invite Tanya Hamstan from the St. Anne's Bay Hospital. We're putting her on the spot a bit, but we want her to come and speak to us about how we too can be safe and what's happening in St. Anne. Give her a round of applause, please.
Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government, the Mayor, and other distinguished guests at the main table, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here as one of the family of St. Anne, but I speak directly to the impact of motor vehicle accidents on the hospital. And I speak directly, I've been speaking over the few months about this, but directly to what happened on Sunday. And I believe I speak from my heart to the people who I think should take part in making us safe. On Sunday at 8:30, the life of St. Anne's Bay Hospital, that is acting as a type B, but in fact acting as a type B A hospital, was turned upside down when we were faced with 26 patients, very ill patients, what we call maskers, the severity and the number of patients at one time. So we had to mobilize all the teams to save lives. But what this meant was that all the energy had to be focused on these patients. And the other patients had delayed in treatment. The impact was so great that they had the impact on our laboratory services. And I'm telling you because I want you guys to get a picture of what happens when we have a motor vehicle accident. I'm telling you about the impact so that you guys, or us as a team, can understand what the role we play. So it had significant impact on our lab services. Already we don't have blood, we need blood. And it had impact on the staff. We had to mobilize everybody, those who on duty, those who are off duty, to come and save lives. Had an impact on the relatives, turned upside down and emotionally and physically. And it had an impact on the resources in terms of our X-ray resources. Everybody had injuries to their lower limbs except one man. So what we have now is a ward. They had to open another place to house these people. We have at least 24 patients with injuries to their lower limbs. In other words, broken bones. What this means for Jamaica is production will be reduced. This is you're talking about an age group between 15 and 50 years old. That's productivity. Each person with a lower limb fracture is going to have at least 2 surgeries. This cost. At least 10 has had initial surgeries already, but they will need surgeries. They're going to be prevented from working for months in already a country that we need to productivity be high. This is the impact. There's no delay in other patients being seen, delay in management. You see the repercussions, there's a significant repercussions. And I'm speaking from my heart because I see it. And really, I hope we can turn this. From the start of this month, we are seeing over 1,000 motor vehicle accident victims. And this is not, I'm not checking trauma here. I'm just checking motor vehicle accident. The trauma is another story. When I say trauma, stab wounds, gunshot wounds. There are nights upon nights when you have doctors and nurses working beyond times that is clinically well for us to be working overtime. We have done many shifts back to save lives. This is our hospital. This is our community. This country, I believe, can do well with the kind of productivity. But if we continue to do this where we put our lives at risk, this is a beautiful parish, lovely roads. But I think we need to slow down and spend some time and admire the beauty of it because it's really impacting on the services of the hospital. Remember now, we have to look after the patient who comes in with cancers. Remember now, we have to look after the patient who comes in with the diabetes and the hypertension. We have a role to play. We have to slow down. I'm sorry to be telling you, but I'm really talking from my heart here. It is impacting too much on the life of this country, the cost of the country, the whole running of the hospital. It is impacting. I hope that is one message, but importantly, it's delaying the management of other conditions such as our cancer patients, such as our the NCDs. So I'm hoping that we as a community can come together and look at how we can reduce the motor vehicle accidents in this country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Hampston. You got some information from health. If you have any other questions for her during the Q&A, we're asking that you just either you take them to the secretariat at the back or you can ask them at the microphone. I'm very biased when it comes to my colleagues from work, where I work at the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. So I'm very pleased to introduce you to Ms. Anna Tucker Abrams. She's a Senior Director for Mitigation Planning and Research acting at ODPEM, and she's going to share some information about what the ODPEM is doing in Sinan. Please make her feel welcome.
Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Member of Parliament Crystal Lee, His Worship the Mayor Sidney Stewart, and other distinguished guests of the panel, good evening. To you, residents of St. Anne, I know you've come from all over the parish. Good evening to you. Okay, at the ODPEM, we work closely with communities that are vulnerable to various hazards, whether it's flooding, landslide, storm surge. We work with the parish in working out what the solutions are for some of the hazards you face. So today I'm going to outline for you some of the work that we've been doing in partnership with key stakeholders at the SDC, the Municipal Corporation, the National Works Agency, the Fire Brigade, and others. I'll start though with a little history of the hazards that face your parish. How many persons remember the Monique flood in 2006? All right, good. Now we know that the Monique flood had persons riding in boats to get to work. And then in 2008, we had the Ocherius flood. Remember that one? That one got the international attention because Ocherius is a tourist town. And you had businesses that were going through extensive damage, residences, and Ocherius was one of the first communities to quickly turn around in terms of the response. And this is because of the economic drivers in that area. You know, it's a tourist area, so we had to ensure that the response was quick. So what you have in St. Anne is that, yes, I heard it before that you have a beautiful parish, but you also have assets in this parish that drive economic growth for the country. So the hazards that face you, that face other communities in other parishes, have more damaging effects in a parish like St. Anne. Looking forward at Douglas Castle, that community up in the hills of St. Anne. Everyone knows Douglas Castle, right? Most persons. In 2018, a major flood that many persons had not seen in their lifetime occurred in Douglas Castle. The entire community was blocked off because they had a low-lying road that was flooded, and the flood lasted for days. Many persons couldn't go to work. Persons started as part of the coping. They built rafts. Some persons were making money by using inflatable boats to get persons across the flood water so they could exit. Farmers lost millions in crops, right? Coming out of the impact to Douglas Castle, the government decided that, okay, we're going to allocate $35 million to help remediate the impacts to that community. And the ODPEM, along with agencies like the Water Resources Authority and the National Works Agency and the Municipal Corporation, went on the ground in Douglas Castle, did the necessary risk assessment, because of course, when you're responding to an impact, you need data. So we went in, collect the data, the engineering designs were done, and the work was implemented. So by 2020, the road was raised in Douglas Castle, new drains were built, and we've had rain since. And to date, we can say that that area has not flooded, if so, to the extent that it did in 2018. So this is the kind of work we're talking about, where we are trying to not only be reactive to the impacts, we're trying to identify areas that might have this kind of damage and put in measures to safeguard the risks that face these communities. So I'll share some more on the work that's done in your parish. Of course, we're in Runaway Bay, and it has been mentioned earlier about the flooding that occurred, especially along the sections of the North Coast Highway from Runaway Bay to Discovery Bay, and rehabilitation work has been done. So you're a parish that has been favored in terms of response. You've received impacts, and the remedial work is timely in your parish, in generally speaking. Now, the role of ODPEM is not just to react to your impacts. As I said earlier, we're part of the planning process, and this process, we use a multi-stakeholder approach. We work with the community, we work with agencies, and then we come up with solutions together for implementation. Other things that we've been doing, I don't know if you know, but you have 87 shelters in this parish. 87 across the island, across the parish. And of course, if there's impact, we expect you to use the shelters. Not when you're already flooded. You need to evacuate before the flood happens and go to the different shelters. No, when we had we're still in a pandemic. When COVID started, the Ministry of Health decided to implement some measures to protect you when you all go to shelters. You want to feel safe. So the shelters in St. Anne now have isolation areas that have been identified and labeled in the different shelters, which are mainly schools in the parish and some churches. Those areas have been identified. So if we had a major event now and you were to report to a shelter, you know that you're safe. So there are protocols in place in St. Anne. So that's commendable for the parish. We're still doing that work across other parishes, but we can say safely for St. Anne, most of your shelters have these protocols in place. Now, in terms of the planning process at the community level, we've been developing community disaster risk management plans. And so far for St. Anne, we have plans for Discovery Bay, Douglas Castle, Ocho Rios, Lime Hall, Monique, and Priory. And these plans not only outline your hazards, they also outline some community level mitigation works that can be done and how much money is required to implement those measures. So these plans are active plans that can be taken up by donors for implementation and also by the government. You are a fast-growing parish, right? Many new developments are coming up. There's a housing boom in the country. Gated communities going up, and St. Anne has prime real estate, and we see a lot of developments going in. What the ODPEM has been doing as well is to ensure that we review all applications for new developments in this parish, because we know you have the flood risk. It's a very high risk. We know areas like Cave Valley and Pimento Walk face landslides as well. But what we're trying to do is ensure that the new developments that go in adhere to the procedures that are required to protect the citizens and protect your investment. When you buy a house, you want to know that it is safe for many years to come and you can hand it on to your children. So the intention here is that we continue to review new developments, and we must say sometimes we have to tell you no. Sometimes we have to say no, you cannot build here. And we expect residents to be understanding that our intention is to help you protect yourselves, as we're all citizens of Jamaica, and the work must continue to safeguard the population as much as possible. All right, so before I go, we're currently in the hurricane season, so I want to leave you with some measures, some safety measures. I know you know many of them already, but as it relates to using the shelters, if you live in a flood-prone area, do not wait on the area to be flooded before you report to the nearest shelter. Persons you can contact for information is the Parish Disaster Coordinator. The Parish Disaster Coordinator for St. Anne is Mr. Alvin Clark. Many of you have his number. Contact the Parish Disaster Coordinator first. You also have contact information for the Fire Brigade, who helps with search and rescue. For the ODPEM, our contact number is 906-9674-5. And you can also check out our website, where we have useful information for you at www.odpm.org.jm. And of course, you can also email us at odpm@cwjamaica.com. So feel free to contact us. We are not just here to present to you at these forums. Behind the scenes, we're working closely at the community level. If you need training, we have a training unit that can come out and train you at different levels, whether it's a church event, a school, or a community meeting. We do provide those services. So I just want to share with you that you continue to stay safe, continue to implement measures that protect your children, right? Protect the community for generations to come. So the ODPEM is here to serve you, and we'll just continue to look forward to your participation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Tucker Abrams. At this time, I'd like to recognize Marcia Smith, MP for Northeast St. Anne, State Minister in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. Please give her a round of applause. All right, thank you so much. So we have a representative from ODPEM here. So I keep reminding you in the Q&A, if you have any questions, you can ask the representatives. I now have here with us today Mr. Evan Thompson. He's the director at the Meteorological Service. So we're going to invite him now to make his presentation before we go into the main address by the minister. Make him feel welcome, please.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. It's really very good to be here in St. Anne and to be in this wonderful area of St. Anne called Runaway Bay. It's nice to Runaway Bay sometimes, and it's a pleasure to be here. Allow me to greet the Minister McKenzie, Member of Parliament, Lee, also Member of Parliament, who is also in the a member. Minister of State, I acknowledge you this evening, and also Mr. Mayor and other distinguished representatives of the municipal corporation and other heads of agencies, and of course very distinguished residents of this area and of St. Anne in general. It's really a pleasure for me to be here and to represent the Meteorological Service, which is where I work. And there's a lot of work in the Met Service. You know, hurricane season is not the only time of the year that the Met Service works, because we have a lot of things to do and we have a lot of weather conditions to be monitoring. Right throughout the year, we are responsible for monitoring weather conditions, also collecting of data and analyzing that data, making sure that we are able to also do forecasts and warnings for all of you. So this dependent on any kind of hydrometeorological event, we have to be prepared to warn you so that you will also be prepared. And that is a major part of our functions. I just wanted to point out that well, I was listening earlier to some of the other presentations, and it's amazing the work that is actually going on. And when I heard the report from road safety, speaking about the kind of accidents that occur and the lives that are lost, I thought to myself, sometimes maybe it's better we get a hurricane than drive on the roads in Jamaica, because less people die in these hurricanes than we see dying on the roads because of just traffic accidents, because of how carelessly we use the roads. So we must really take better stock, or take stock and, you know, step back and look at what we are doing and make sure that we are prepared and also act responsibly. The Meteorological Service is responsible for observation, as I mentioned, and monitoring, but we don't only look out at the weather conditions and monitor from that perspective, but we also monitor by the use of instruments right across the country. I wanted to point out that even in this parish of St. Anne, we do monitor. We don't only monitor using a radar and only using the satellite, but we use a number of gauges that are located right across the country in every parish. And St. Anne is one of the parishes that we are constantly monitoring. So we have eyes everywhere. We are watching to see what is happening everywhere. And we always try to increase and improve the measuring of these hazards or of these phenomena as we go along. I wanted to point out that we have 13 rainfall gauges that are spread out across this parish. We also have 7 automatic weather stations that are located in this parish. And my understanding is there is one actually in Runaway Bay that is helping us to understand what are the weather conditions that are occurring in this section of the parish, telling us when rainfall is occurring, telling us what the temperature is at that point in the area, and also even telling us what kind of wind flow you are having in this area. So we are monitoring very carefully. I also wanted to point out that we are continuing our investment in St. Anne, because over the past 2 to 3 months, we have installed three automatic weather stations in this parish. And so we will continue the work, spreading out across the country and improving the way that we collect our data so that we can represent, we can see what is happening. It is important that we know what is happening before we can project into the future. We have to look to see what are the conditions now, how things are changing, and then what we expect in the future. That's why we can do our forecasting. And as you know just as well as I that our forecasting is the best that you can see anywhere, right? Whenever we tell you it's going to rain, you get rain. And when we tell you you're not going to get rain, you don't get any. And sometimes we don't only give you a 24-hour forecast, but we go further into 2 and 3 months, telling you these are the conditions that you should expect in your area. If you're a farmer, depending on what you are doing, we can tell you that these are the conditions that you should expect, whether you should expect more rainfall than normal. Since the beginning of this year, we have been saying that our projection for the country is that rainfall amounts will be slightly above what is normal. We have been saying that. And I have the data for St. Anne that tells me that almost every month, actually, every month since the beginning of this year, you have had more rainfall than you normally get. You have not gotten drought this year. And you have been getting the rainfall more than you would see in every month this year. The only month that you got less than last year No, the only month that you got less than the norm was May, which is really supposed to be your rainfall month. But in May, you got a little bit less than you would normally get. But every other month, the rainfall amounts in St. Anne have been more than normal. And what we are projecting for the next few months is that you will continue to experience rainfall that is a little bit more than normal, for at least going into September, October. After that, we'll see how things change. But you know, October is usually a rainfall month anyway. You normally get a little bit more. So you're likely to see more of that. But we also do projections in terms of what we expect for the hurricane season. And I don't want you to forget that we are in the hurricane season. And because sometimes for years we don't experience any major hurricane, we start to say, oh, we're not going to get any hurricanes. But the truth is, we remain a vulnerable nation, and St. Anne remains a vulnerable parish, and you could get hurricane activity in this area of the country anytime as we go through this hurricane season. So you have to always be prepared, always be on the guard, because this could very well happen to you. And you don't want to be caught flat-footed. You don't want to be caught unprepared and end up having to build back where the things that you could have really secured in the first place. So I want to remind you that this year we are expecting an active hurricane season. We have had 2 months that we haven't had that much activity. But that means that if we're still expecting that number of storms, now we have less time to experience them. That means the frequency of these storms developing could be much more than you would have seen so far. So expect still to see some storms developing over the waters. We don't know if we will be hitting Jamaica, but we just have to be prepared all the time because it is still a possibility. And you have to know that the Met Service is monitoring, is paying attention to what is happening, and we're very well connected. You might think that the National Hurricane Center is the only place that can tell you what is happening. But our connections with the National Hurricane Center are on a first-name basis. We call people there and they call us here. And they tell us what is happening over the waters, and we tell them what we are experiencing. In fact, the last time when we had that hurricane move across us, last year we had a tropical storm actually that moved across the island of Jamaica. Many of us don't remember, but a tropical storm Grace moved across Jamaica last year. And it was because of the data that we were able to provide the National Hurricane Center. They were able to say to the international community, this is exactly where the system is. This is where the center of the system is, and this is where it is moving because of what we could provide to them. So we are continuing the investments in Jamaica. We are continuing the monitoring. The Met Service is keeping ourselves active to ensure that you get the information that you need when you need it, get the forecast that you need so that you can make preparation, and get the warnings that you need so that you can take action. So we want you to bear that in mind. How many of you have a battery-operated radio? How many people have a battery-operated radio? I've seen about maybe 10 hands, maybe 12. But this room has multiple times 12. And the truth is, we don't really think of it as a necessity until the time comes when we need it and we can't find it. And we say, can't tell when last me see a battery-operated radio. You always listen to the radio in your cars, or you might listen to some other maybe even on your phones. But sometimes you lose the energy on your phones and you cannot pay attention. You can't get the information, but you need to always be in contact. How will you get the warnings from the Met Service if you don't have the means to receive it? So bear those things in mind. How are you going to get the information? Ensure that you get it, ensure that you get it on time, and ensure that you are able to act on it. Those are my few words this evening, and I hope you will remain prepared. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. At this time, I'd like to invite young Keandra Daly. She's a student at the Prairie Primary School, and she's going to do a poem for you entitled Disaster Preparedness.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kendra Daly. I attend the Prairie Primary and Infant School, and I'll be saying a poem called Disaster Preparedness. Disaster Preparedness by Sandrine Taylor. Me come to tell you about disaster preparedness. Preparedness, yes, preparedness. Me come to tell you about disaster preparedness. Preparedness, yes, preparedness. To prepare for disaster, you have to have a plan. Think ahead and prepare your man. Pay attention to news alerts and warnings, no evacuation routes. Nobody sit down act like a stooge. Me come to tell you about disaster preparedness. Preparedness, yes, preparedness. Hurricane and storm, a serious hazard. Batten down windows and doors. Have your first aid kit in a close proximity. Have a list of medication you need. Take heed and take notice. Cut down tree limbs hanging around property. Listen to me keenly and don't take this lightly. Me come to tell you about disaster preparedness. Preparedness, yes, preparedness. Store drinking water and non-perishable foods. Put up all important documents, safe and sound. Remember power cut. So get your battery-powered flashlight so things can be found. Listen to your radio, forget your updates. Stay indoors and remain calm. Keep your family safe and warm. Me come to tell you about disaster preparedness. Preparedness, yes, preparedness. After the hurricane pass and gone, check on your neighbor. Make sure them all right. Assess damages to your property. If you have livestock, check on them too. Please, me I beg you. Contact the ODPEM office for more info. Be safe and take care, yeah, man. Make sure you have a disaster preparedness plan. We come to tell you about disaster preparedness. Preparedness, yes, preparedness. Me come to tell you about disaster preparedness. Preparedness, yes, preparedness. Be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared.
Don't leave, Kendra. Jeez, I'm so prepared, eh? Give her another round of applause. I understand Kendra has a social media page you want to tell them to follow you at? Please.
It is called the aspiring point.
Okay, give her a round of applause. Thank you very much, Kendra. All right, thank you very much. When the young ones come and they can teach us a little bit more about what it is we need to do as adults for preparedness, we're always pleased with that. So give her another round of applause and follow her where? I want to forget already. The aspiring poet. Very good. We're at that moment where we now invite our Honorable Minister Desmond McKenzie to make his main address, and he's no stranger to you, so give him a really, really big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Delmary's right, who is the person who has the responsibility for guiding the proceedings since we started the series of town hall meetings. I am particularly pleased today because I've been in the parish from as early as 9 o'clock this morning. And I was more than happy to have on the tour with me today the Minister of State in the Ministry of National Security, along with councillors, and also ably supported by the leader of the Minority Caucus in the St. Anne Municipal Corporation, Councillor Brown. And since then, we have been joined by Councillor Bell. This is showing, ladies and gentlemen, that our approach to disaster and to ensure that the parish gets the benefit of your tax dollar is reflected in a non-partisan way, and I want to thank both sides for the support. I want to acknowledge the members of parliament who are present here with us. We were joined late in the program by the member of parliament and State Minister Marsha Smith. And I want to acknowledge the councillors and the administrative staff of the municipal corporation, and also the various entities that is lending support to this program. This morning on my way in, I thought it would have been important to the parish and to Jamaica for persons to understand why we included the National Road Safety Council as a part of our disaster preparedness education. And on my way in this morning, I felt it was important that the pressures that is being brought to bear on our medical services, that someone who is in the middle of it is given an opportunity to speak to the residents of St. Anne. And not just the residents of St. Anne, because we are being carried by both Nationwide and Power 106, and we are streaming live on GIS and other channels is carrying this broadcast. And disaster is not just about hurricane, earthquake, flood. We have a disaster that is of real concern. A man-made disaster, which is out of indiscipline, ignorance, and disregard for the rules of the country. We are paying a severe price for this level of indiscipline that has taken over our roads. We are losing lives, young men, and I listened to the presentation from the unit, and I'm concerned Because yesterday, there was a major motor vehicle accident on the Mandela Highway that claimed 2 more lives. And right around the country, we are seeing this increase in fatalities and accidents on our roads. And I believe that as a country, we need to recognize what is happening. There are a number of things that we can do. I was in Westmoreland and I heard a gentleman in the question and answer period said that he was encouraging persons not to take a taxi that has more than the required amount of passengers. And he said that he was lambasted. People cuss him out. There are things that we can do by not supporting the indiscipline of some of our drivers. And some of the same passengers will say to the driver, where you do go around and a man, you know, so the man, they are going to leave you. And I believe this is something that, as Jamaicans, we need to pay serious attention to. And it's not what the government is doing. Government alone can't do it. And we need the support of every single Jamaican. When the new Road Traffic Act comes into effect, I'm hoping that I won't hear people saying that is only poor people the law was made for. Many who have died on our roads are not poor. And so tonight, I am urging the people of St. Anne, because your numbers have gone up, and have gone up significantly in comparison to what it was last year. Let us not get carried away. Let us not be overcome by the culture of earning $1. So a taxi man would drive on the wrong side of the road with a car full of passengers, including children, with no regards at all for the lives of those persons. In the same way in which we use social media and other forms of information to be critical and raise concerns about issues, let us start a campaign in this country about the carnage on our roads and what we as Jamaicans can do and is prepared to do. I bet you in the morning, some of you decide are not taking these buses or these taxis. Send them a message. The law alone can't help. And tonight, I am feeling a little bit down because I saw somebody who is mourning the death of a loved one. When I listen to the amount of persons in the hospitals where elected surgeries have to be put on hold, and that is a cost to the country. Loss of revenue, loss of production. And we consider it to be a disaster. And we are going to be taking this message right across the country, within our schools. So tonight, the issues surrounding disaster preparedness is relevant and live. All the presenters, the Jamaica Fire Brigade, the National Works Agency, the National Solid Waste Management Authority, even the Road Safety Unit, have all indicated where we are in terms of preparedness and the things that are necessary to ensure that we, as residents, don't drop the ball. St. Anne is in the top 5 most vulnerable parishes in Jamaica. This part of the island of Jamaica can be considered one of the most vulnerable parts of the island. The last time you had severe flooding in the parish, I visited a number of areas, saw breakaways. And out at the front there at Runaway Bay, remember what used to happen? The police station was flooded out. Major problems to pass there. Working with the National Works Agency and the Ministry and the Municipal Corporation, work was done to expand the exit. I went down there myself. And what I saw, never need any engineer. All that it need was for someone to go down there and look at it physically. That work has been completed. And I'm quite sure that the flooding that used to take place will be reduced significantly. And the challenges that motorists and the public and the business operators face will be significantly reduced. I am proud about what we did in Douglas Castle. Douglas Castle was my first major encounter when I became minister. And we worked together and we came up with the solution for Douglas Castle. I was in Cave Valley today, and everybody knows the history of Cave Valley. Cave Valley was declared a disaster area decades ago. There have been signs of flooding in Cave Valley. And we have put together a technical team. Spoke to Minister Warmington earlier today on the matter. That will look at how we can address the situation in Cave Valley. We're not going to be able to solve it overnight, but we are going to be putting in place
the necessary things that are available to alleviate the level of flooding that has taken place in Cave Valley. There is no magic wand that we can wave that will stop flooding. We can clean the drains. We can provide the resources. We can do all that is necessary. You know, I visited an area with the MP and the councillor today. And a lady came to me complaining about when it rains, the impact that it has on our house. And even before I went down to look at it, I recognized that the area was a natural sinkhole. And right in the middle of that sinkhole, two lovely houses were built. But yet she said to me, she has a challenge to go out to work because she has a son who is physically challenged. And if she leave him and she hear thunder roll, she fret. Because the last time it rained, the water catch her up here. So she's living in an area that is a sinkhole. I can only say to persons that choose where you build. Because at the end of the day, it is government that is blamed. And when we take the steps that are necessary to prevent buildings, it's a different story. And St. Anne is a parish that has a lot of sinkholes right across. And this is a major concern that we have. And I want the mayor and the municipality to become more vigilant, to go out there and to take the necessary actions against persons who continue to build in areas that are not suited for building. And if we continue to allow these things to happen, meetings like these will be a waste of time. And you heard about the level of rainfall that the parish has experienced since this year. Much greater rain than you have had last year this time. And we are just what? Completing 2 months of the hurricane season. And everyone will tell you that we can no longer say that the hurricane season is from June to November, because we have seen that the season has gone on beyond November. And climate change. When we were in St. Mary last week, Minister Matthew Samuda was there, and he spoke about the effects of climate change. And that is why we are using the Social Development Commission along with the ODPEM and the municipal corporations in the communities that we have identified out of the SDC survey. that tells you which community is vulnerable, what are the challenges that they face. And we are going on an extensive education drive in these communities to talk to the residents about the dangers and the things that they must do and the things that they should not do. All we can do is come to you, tell you the truth, tell you as it is, and ask of you to support the efforts of the government. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, going to the mayor, going to the councillors, and going to the MPs is not going to solve the problem. And there are persons who have gotten accustomed in doing the wrong thing. And they feel that, well, I've been doing it and I'm getting away with it and I can continue to get away with it. We have seen a change in the weather pattern. We have seen a change in how the climate is operating. And I want to urge St. Anne to let's get on board. There are other issues that the parish are experiencing. Despite the fact that you have this heavy rainfall, there are still communities in St. Anne that have problems with domestic water. Bensington is one such place. Bamboo, Burbridge, Alexandria, Dry Harbor, Limehall. I could go on and name communities in St. Anne that are having serious water issue. Earlier today, we went up to a place named John Reed, where there is a major water supply there. And over the years, the tank has deteriorated. Fence has gone. Not really gone, but on the way out. Rural water was there today. And rural water, and I want the residents of John Reed who came out and spoke with me about their concerns. I want to give them the assurance that we are going, and the councillor who said that work should have been done from 2020. And I want to give the assurance that we will move as quickly as possible once we get what is required to rehabilitate and to make that location presentable. Because when I went there today, I thought it wasn't in use. I thought it was abandoned because of how it looked. And Mayor, a little bushing can take place to make the area look good. Clean it up, councillor. And you don't need me to come down here to tell you that that can be done. We'll be trucking water to some of the communities that I have outlined since night. And these areas that we're going to be trucking the water to is because those communities don't have access to pipe water. We have money in the Ministerial local government that will be providing water to these communities. St. Ann is one of the parishes that is listed to receive a brand new water truck. The approval for the purchase of the truck was given on Tuesday. So there is some level of relief coming to areas of St. Ann that is in need of water. That is not the answer to the problem. And the government is working on an overall plan to take water into various communities. But it's going to take some time, and we're working on that. So the water situation will be given full attention within the next couple of weeks. The other issues that really hurt me today was when I visited two markets, the one in K Valley and the one in Alexandria. The one in K Valley I saw a gas distribution taking place. I smelled the gasoline. These markets that are there to serve the residents are being used for other activities outside of having vendors in them. The one in Alexandria, the persons who were there kept asking me, when is the market going to be repaired? And my answer tonight to Alexandria, as soon as the estimate is submitted to the Ministry of Local Government, we will move to have the Alexandria market repaired for the use of the vendors. There is enough space for the taxis who clog up the town of Alexandria to go in to that location. And I've said it to the councillors and to the MP and to the mayor. We're not going to spend money to renovate the market, fix it, because it is literally a new market, and put in the requisite transportation facility for persons to still remain out on the streets in Alexandria. That's not going to happen. We spent in excess of $18 million to renovate and to make Brownstown Market a brand new market. And those of you who have been to Brownstown would have seen the work that was done on that market. When I went there in 2019 or thereabout, in 2020, and I made the announcement, I was accused of making a political statement to the people of Brownstown because it was close to the elections. Well, anybody who know me from I'm in this job, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Sometimes it might not happen the same time you want it to because of the process. Brownstown was the first community outside of Kingston that benefited from paint the city, paint the town. You're going to Brownstown and look in Brownstown Square. Totally different Brownstown Square. And on my last visit, I went to the transportation center down the road. And the taxi drivers, and in fairness to them, they were using the facility. And I had to say to them, boy, you're not good. Because the conditions that they were operating in is not lovely. And I said to them, as soon as we have completed the work on the murals, putting in the bricks on the sidewalks and putting in the rails in Brownstown, we are going to be moving to address the transportation center, which is a revenue earner for the municipality. And coming through Brownstown this evening was a problem because of the congestion in Brownstown. So the estimate has come in for the repairs and the upgrading of the transportation center. I'm not going to say the amount because this amount will have to go out to public tender. So I am advising the taxi drivers, the people who use the transportation center in Brownstown, that the government of Prime Minister Andrew Holness have listened and we are responding in providing the funds to carry out the repairs to the transportation center. I went on a road named Tracy. Tracy. Forgive me, Tracy. And when I went on the road, a lady came to me and she said she's close to 80 years old. And she has never seen a bucket of mall placed on that road. And it is an horseshoe road that has a playing field and a community center in the middle of it. I toured and I gave a solemn commitment that we will look at it. This is another commitment of the government that we are fulfilling. And I'm not here tonight to make any promises because people feel, and I don't know if Bell and Brown think that there's something in the atmosphere. But it is a part of commitment for, and since I've been assigned the portfolio of rural development, we have been going into rural communities where nobody have ever gone before and is making a difference in the lives in many of these rural communities. You have two other major markets in the parish, the St. Anne's Bay market and the Ocherius market. And the complaints that I'm getting, I listen to the radio and I hear people complaining about the state of the Ocherius market. I'm not saying here tonight that it is on the card. but the discussions around that market well advanced. I want to a little on the social side of what we are doing in the parish. We are almost at the end of the construction of a new for the homeless in St. Anne in Ocherius. This shelter is on the same location as where we have the drop-in facility. And that facility was built because the town of Ocherius has a large population of homeless persons. And that shelter is to provide a roof over their heads, to give them 3 meals a day, medical support, clean clothes. So we're almost at the point that we have completed the construction. And we did a survey about other sections of the parish because of the size of St. Anne. And we're going to be looking to see how possible in the new financial year for us to put another shelter for the homeless population. I want to touch on a matter which has been in the public domain since Tuesday. And I will restrict my comments on it so that I do not take an issue and make a political football out of it, as what is being attempted by other people. The Auditor General tabled in Parliament a report on a performance audit that was done on the entity. The National Solid Waste Management Authorities, ladies and gentlemen, over the years have been affected by real problems. Problems of the entity didn't start in 2016. We inherited many of the problems of the organization. We put in place a board that no one could question the competence of the board or accuse us of being political in the appointment of the board, because we actually kept the board that we inherited. The organization for over 15 years have never once tabled in Parliament a report on its operation. Never in 15 years. Since 2016, this administration have worked with the board to ensure that a system of accountability and transparency is put in place to deal with the running of the organization. In 2018, the private sector organization of Jamaica, in a program working with the Ministry of Finance, awarded the National Solid Waste Management Authority the Corporate Governance Award for being one of the most competent and efficient public body in submitting its annual report. And for the last 3 years, the organization have been doing so. They have presented to me on time for the last 4 years their annual public body report that is tabled in the House of Representatives. So that is not an organization that is being mismanaged. And I will never deny that the organization has not been besieged over the years with challenges. But we have put in place the necessary mechanism, the checks and balances. The Auditor General report, which is 61 pages long, made some findings. It was the work of the organization that discovered certain acts of irregularities. They were the ones doing their own internal audit that discovered these things. And the audit is from 2015. They called in Mocha. They did all that was necessary. They didn't sweep the issue under the carpet. What would have been the case previously, before 2016. They did the necessaries, and the Auditor General came in. The Auditor General's report, which the board welcome, and as the minister, we welcome the findings of the Auditor General. But when someone takes the necessary steps to put in corrective measures and speak about it, you can't dismiss the efforts of the organization to cleanse itself. They did what was necessary, what was required under the law. And it is unfortunate that political general's findings and some very unfortunate comments have been made. I just want to say, as the minister with responsibility for the National Solid Waste Management Authority, that I will ensure that whatever the recommendations are coming out of that report, that the necessary steps be taken to continue to give credibility, because the National Solid Waste Management Authority has earned the right to say it has been a credible organization over the last 5 years. And so I am not going to be drawn into any political tug and war on this matter. The board has the mandate to do the things that are necessary. And I am confident that the board has been and will continue to do the right thing to turn around the organization to make it into what it ought to be. The last thing I want to say on the matter, the National Solid Waste Management Authority was set up as a regulatory body to regulate. But it has not executed that function. It has operated as a collector of garbage. The Prime Minister, the government has set up an enterprise team. And some people will say it is taking long. It's better we do it the right way more than rush to get the enterprise team to give us their recommendations. Because the same people who is saying why it is taking so long is the same people will criticize if it don't work. So we are expecting the enterprise team to make its recommendations. And once those recommendations are made, the government is committed in divesting garbage collection. The cleanup exercise have started. Been through several places and I've seen work taking place. The cleanup exercise, ladies and gentlemen, is about Jamaica. It's not about the government. It's about Jamaica. And I want to urge every well-thinking Jamaicans to play their part in making sure that we allow the country to feel a sense of pride in this our 60th year. We cannot, and I have said it repeatedly over and over again, the government had a choice to make when COVID came, whether to buy 100 garbage trucks or to use the money to save lives and to strengthen our public health system. The government chose to secure the lives of Jamaicans by putting that money into our health service. The 50 trucks that was ordered is being made. And I know that the entity is in touch with the manufacturers. And hopefully by the end of this year, those 50 trucks will be in the country to support the fleet of the organization. We can't lie about it. It is the truth. And I know persons will say that we've been saying this over and over. It is not an excuse. Because I want to say something. If the previous administration, in the period that they were there, invested money into the entity and provide the trucks, we would not be in the problems that we are today. In the period that they were there, they didn't buy 7 trucks. And I am not here to cast any aspersions and to say that they didn't do it and we're not doing it. But we cannot, as a country, continue to feed false information and to turn things into what we want and to feed the country with false information misleading the country. And so tonight, I want to say to Jamaicans that the work of the National Solid Waste Management Authority will continue. They will do all that is necessary to improve efficiency. And there's nothing in life that is perfect. So tonight, as we, well, I'm going to stop now because it's only 5 minutes for the question and answer. And I got a little bit carried away. But I want to thank you for coming and thank you for your participation. Can we take the question and answers now?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are at that moment where we're going to take your questions and answers. So at this time, I'm going to invite you to use the microphone in the aisle. When you get to the microphone, you can state your name and where you're from in St. Anne, and then you can direct the questions either to the members at the head table or to the state entity representatives from the Jamaica Fire Brigade. We have from NEMP, NWA, Road Safety Council, the ODPEM, and also from the Met Service. So please feel free to make your way over to the microphone and then you can ask your questions. Additionally, we had asked persons earlier to go to the back of the room and give your questions that you didn't want to ask publicly on mic. If there's any questions at the Secretariat, we will take them now where I will read them for them to be answered. Minister, I think you were abundantly clear, and so was all the other members at the head table, because I'm not seeing the representatives asking any questions at this time. Please. You can speak. Speak into the microphone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Brown, and I live in Runaway Bay. In fact, I am the chairman for the Vistas Community Association, Homeowners Association. It's one of the newest developments in the Runaway Bay area. I want to applaud the government of Jamaica and the stakeholders for the significant development which has taken place in the country over the last couple of years. And we have seen prospects for further developments, which we are happy and we welcome. Just want to make a suggestion, a recommendation for the continuation of the developments within our communities, particularly and in the Runaway Bay area. We, as residents, I also participate in various community associations as well, where our water supply, it was mentioned, for some improvements, and I was very, very happy. And while we are not like the dry harbor areas where we suffer tremendously, some of us who benefit from water which is transmitted from Trelawney, the Martebury River, which comes to a tank in Runaway Bay and then distributed, we suffer frequent disruption of our water supply. While we are very happy that we receive water, but we would want a more reliable and more sustainable water supply. while we do our part as community members, our rainwater harvesting and our storage.
All right.
So that is a challenge.
No, I'm just trying to get you to wrap up this one question, and we'll have
Good.
a representative address the question that you're asking now.
Could I
Go ahead,
just
finish
do
for
the
me.
other? The other relates to our sewage infrastructure for the community, where we are aware that the Bellier sewage treatment plant has been under development for quite a significant number of years. And we would be very, very happy to see the completion so that we do not suffer any negative environmental and public health impacts.
Okay.
So,
all right.
that's
Thank you
it
very much
for
for
me.
your
Thank
two
you
questions.
very much.
Any responses?
All right. Thank you for your comments earlier on. Well appreciated. And that matter is a National Water Commission matter. We take note of it and we will pass it on to the NWC.
Thank you, Minister. Go ahead for me.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rowena Newman Ridley, and I am from the Lewis community. Firstly, I want to commend the Prime Minister and on his leadership, especially through these globally economically challenging times, and commend his entire team, including the councillors, MPs, and the leadership in St. Anne. My question is directed to the NWA and the National Road Safety Unit represented here. The town of Brownstown could easily be called a college town, a school town. We have 6 weeks to September, and the road network still needs some major upgrades. We can't have our babies or children traveling on the roads in the current condition. Secondly, I'd like to hear more about the upgrade to the main roadway from Ocherius out of the parish. We don't want another episode of Saturday, April 16.
All right, thank you very much. Road safety, did you want to address that, or it's good? If you have taken note, we can move on, or if you'd like to address the concern.
So the response mostly will come from NWA,
Right.
but in terms of schools, under the new Road Traffic Act, there will be designated school zones, so you'll hear more about that.
All right, thank you very much. We'll take the next question.
Good evening. My name is Robert Taylor. I'm 46-year-old. Minister, welcome to Runaway Bay, sir. Mayor, respect. Miss Lee, respect. We have a problem here in Runaway Bay with flooding in the Runaway Bay area. The first wall was struck was a bamboo wall. Now we have wall where we can't even see with beaches, and we see beautiful palms, beautiful Runaway Bay. That wall have to go, ma'am. When that wall go, the roadway will be cleared quickly and the water will dissipate quickly. Please, we want to see that wall removed. It is a sore in our eye. When we stop at the crossroad, what we call crossroad is a T-junction. The wall needs to go. That repair, what you did down there, we thank you for it. But the wall got to go. We need that little piece of land that we can see with beautiful beaches here. For the NWA with the road, we need good road all the way up to Brownstown. Mr. Xavier Maine, I drive up your way. It's nice. I like when you come, when the minister come and say, boy, you go get New Market. I like when you clap. We want the wall to move that we can feel good. We don't want to push no more tourist bus across the water. Runaway Bay to Salem is a tourist resort area, and it's also a flood-prone area. We need it to move. We need the wall and our drains. There are developments like hotels and big things going on. Some of these people block the drains for development. We are sacrificing. We sacrifice that wall needs to go.
Thank you very much, sir.
Behind me. Thank
Point
you very
taken.
much, ma'am.
Point
We need it.
taken, the wall. Next question.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Carol Lee Wars. I'm living in Bel Air. And my main concern to the minister or to whosoever NWA, the drainage, like in Runaway Bay here, the gully, it need cleaning out, because without that cleaning out, there's no source of water going in it because it's so many debris in it. And in Bel-Air, over where I'm living, the bushes, oh my gosh, it's a disgrace. I clean it a lot of times and I'm tired of doing it. And we need some help over there. And the water, as the lady complained about the water sources over there, and land robbery, I think, Minister, I think something needs to be done for the traffic, the Brownstown buses. It's really, really terrible, and I'm tired of losing people. I'm tired of people dying, so that's what I have to say.
All right, thank you very much. Any response? We take the next question.
Yes, good night. My name is Toussaint Williams. I'm from Old Folly Community Club, which aligns with Discovery CDC. I have a few questions. For the ODPM, who is in charge of the whole management system of St. Anne? Because I'm 42 years of age and I've never met one. Never met one, ever.
Management system of St. Anne?
ODPEM, the disaster people. I've never met one, and I'm 42 years of age.
There's a parish disaster coordinator in the St. Anne
Well,
Municipal.
I've never met one.
Okay.
And are there centers in Dryaba division? I heard about some in Dryaba. How much is in Discovery Bay region? How much? And are they activated for this current season? Which I asked the mayor the last time he was in my community, and he couldn't answer.
Let me just respond to that. Please, quiet. Hello, please. The parish disaster coordinator operates out of the municipal corporation. There is a regional officer from ODPEM who operates within the region. Shelters are right across the parish, including here in the Runaway Bay area and right across the parish. Shelters are there. You can go on the website or ask. No, so you have a problem going on the website, or you can ask the parish disaster coordinator at the MC to give you that location.
We'll take your next question.
For the NAA, why are we still using asphalt on the roads that are seen to be gullies at this point in time? Fern Gully was done. The road through Bagwalk was done. We don't have no more problem with the road again. No, it is a bit more expensive, maybe 20% more expensive. Why are we trying to play penny wise and pound foolish? Why? It's our money, you know. I pay a lot of money because I run trucks. And it's very expensive to keep my truck on the road. And you're going to tell me about weight. The road not make good, the road going to sink. And we are still using gear bag baskets to do a job we should be used pile sheeting to protect. Spend the money wisely. Then they won't have to go back and do the road because they do a road in Clarendon right now in Trota. And I can tell you, when this rain fall again, they spend millions of dollars to fix that road. And I can tell you, in one specific area, whenever time the rain falls, it is a river, not a road. And we keep making the same mistakes over and over again. Because so you spend $10 million on do a road for that point in time, right?
Right.
Then again, you're going to spend another $10 million over a 10-year period, which is $100 million. What does that make sense?
All right, thank you for your question. Thank you for the point. We'll take the final. You have another question, sir? All right, we'll take the question for the gentleman behind. Thank you so much. Point taken and noted.
Yeah, good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I'm having a problem. And this problem is by over Bel-Air. There's a big scrap metal over there, and it is next to my head where my bed is. So I will lick down the thing, my head, till I get strokes. They jerk me hard till the head get jerked. And no matter where I go, I don't get any help. Don't matter where. I call down to Mr. Desmond McKenzie office. And I'm going to talk, I didn't get any other reply. And I'm dying with it.
All right, point taken. What do we send her? Should I take a note? Can somebody?
They're talking about like the scrap metal, what is running over Bel-Air community. It is bigger than out by Riverton. And there's no, everywhere I go, there's no help.
Yes.
No help.
Really important.
I even go to the mayor office. Yeah, I even go to the mayor office, and when I go there, I were there from about 9 o'clock, I drop asleep until to 4. I get up and I didn't get any help. Where else do I must? I don't know nowhere else.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you, can you take her to the back and leave her contact information in the back at the secretary,
Yeah, sure.
please?
May I respond to that, please? Because
Go ahead.
I heard she mentioned it to me earlier this evening. I'm hearing that for the first time. If a complaint came about a scrap metal exercise, we would have investigated that jointly with the public health department. So what I'll ask you to do, madam, is to, if you can manage during the course of next week, then you come to the superintendent department and fill out a form. We will investigate it for you. And then we will take some action. And I apologize to you if you came there and didn't get a chance to see me on that day.
Right, so take your name.
Another thing. I come to the behind the scare, the courthouse, be out of sentence beer, and
He's asking you, Missy's asking you to know. He's going to address it. Leave your name at the secretariat, and he's asked you to come and see him. Where is that? Repeat for me now, where she's to come.
She said, it exists in Bel-Air. She said, go to the chief engineering officer's department, and then you fill out a form. We will come and do the investigation with the health department and take some steps for you.
All right, thank you very much. So that's the instruction.
Please, I'm not telling you. You just go there every time and you make a report and you're not getting nowhere.
So you did it already?
I go there already. We got to some people what in office and I didn't get anywhere until I'm in like this now.
All right, leave your name at the secretariat for me. Leave your name.
And wait a minute, please. I would like Mr. Desmond McKenzie to take a look in Bel-Air right now to see the problem.
Yeah, well said.
It is there bothering me, and every day them can't even learn. Everywhere I go, I have to carry me around. Can we people live like this and you pay your tax? There's not coming like it's just alone.
You never came to the CDC.
All right, leave your name for me now. We're going to look into it with you. Come. Delia, can somebody take her name and contact for me?
Look, listen to me, miss. Miss McDonald, take the information. Is Bel-Air, is it a residential area?
Yes, sir. It is a district in the Runaway Bay CDC area. I will make sure she gets there.
Okay, all right, cool.
All right.
I'm Camila DeJohn. I'm president of Runaway Bay CDC. I think one of the first things I want to do is, it may have been done already because I was trying to get a lift here, but I want to welcome you to Runaway Bay. As the CDC, I'm president of the CDC. We work very hard. We are not people who just keep meetings. We go out. For the last 18 months, we have fed the homeless. Thank you, Miss Lee, for the chicken that helped to, when I'm preparing the food. And we have done that without any assistance whatever. We have built homes. We have done various things. There's no support that we have had apart from we've had something from the mayor. I think, sir.
No, you can't say that. If you're CDC.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Please.
Let me explain.
No. You have made a statement which you need to clarify.
Yeah, I will do.
Is your CDC a registered CDC with the SDC?
Yes, I'm not talking about the SDC. We've got a
said,
good officer.
No.
I'm talking about the food that we give out.
Please. You operate a CDC,
yes,
which receives a subvention from the Ministry of Local Government through the SDC. Okay? Okay?
About 3 times or 4 times we've had that.
No, please, you don't, please.
Sir, can I finish what I'm saying?
No, I'm not going to allow you. I am not going to allow you to make statements that you cannot substantiate.
I can substantiate.
And I am saying to you, if you are a registered CDC,
yes,
and you meet the criteria that is established,
yes,
you get a subvention from the SDC, which I have increased 2 years ago. Okay.
That is not. Can I just finish what I'm saying?
If you are going out there to provide food or other assistance, you do so because you and the CDC wants to do so.
Yes.
So don't come here
But
to talk about you're not getting any help from anybody.
No.
And stop misleading the audience.
Well, I'm not misleading you, sir. I am just trying to explain to you what the level of need in the 23 districts mean that we really could do with some more support with the feeding and care package program.
We have the poor relief department in the parish that has the responsibility to take care of persons who are in need. If you want some assistance, you can get in touch with the poor relief office and they will try to assist.
I have done that, sir.
Okay.
I have done that. What I want to raise, there are issues about the water that has been raised in places like Mount Pleasant, Mount Olivet, Old Road, that we still are waiting. I know there's some things that the MP is doing, but we really could do with some movements on that. In terms of the garbage situation, there is a real issue within a lot of the districts. I hear what you're saying, but I'm asking how we can work together because there's also some enforcement that is needed to stop those who are really just being irresponsible in the way they manage their garbage. But we must also take into consideration people have nowhere to actually dispose of their garbage. So there's another thing. What I'm saying is there needs to be more joined up working with us as a CDC because we work very hard and it is not always, we're not always getting the support. The poor relief is not, we have never had anything from them and we have gone to them. So it is not misleading, sir.
The poor relief department deals with registered poor, okay? And they have a program that they deal with the homeless population, which is an effective program through communities. So there is a system. You have an organization that operates independently, okay? You operate independently outside of the system, okay?
Thank you. We actually do work within the SDC remit and we support that. But if we've been doing this throughout the pandemic, the mayor had to give us a letter to make sure that we could travel on a Sunday to feed people throughout the districts. So I don't think that's quite fair, sir, because we are meeting the needs. If people know us, know what we do. So we know that we're meeting the needs in the communities.
All right, thank you for your point. At this time, I'm going to ask, Minister, I'm going to ask at this time as we try to close out that the last question we'll take is the lady in the black on the back there. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. My name is Sigrid Blake, and I'm connected to the visitors in Runaway Bay. You know, there are many elements that go into making people healthy and to have a healthy environment. Element missing at the visitors, and it's a proper sewage disposal system. So at this time, I would like the council, the mayor, and other agencies to work together to fix this problem. Because it is possible that because of this bad system, disease can break out. You have certain diseases that can be transmitted by sewage. And one that is well known is cholera. Cholera can be transmitted by food and sewage. And remember now, the rats can take the cholera germ to the people. If at all somebody comes there who is so infected.
Right.
Because right now, as it is,
So the system there does not work currently?
it does not work. So,
all right, we've taken note of that.
So one more thing. So what is happening is that the removal by trucks is not enough because you have overflow sometimes, and that is dangerous.
So it's not working properly.
Not working properly.
Right, so
So
we've
we'd like
taken
you
note
to
of
work
that.
on that system
We have taken
as
note.
early as
Thank
you
you
can.
so much. Thank you. We'll take the next question.
Okay, sir. We have noted your point and we are aware of the issue. The municipal corporation is aware of the issue. What was discussed the last time is that the new housing development that is being built next to you, and I know it also affects Bel Air, it affects the Vistas, the Savannas, correct? Now, actively, as we speak, the Housing Agency of Jamaica is working alongside with NWC to get the sewage system up and running as soon as possible. As a matter of fact, the new development that is being made will not be fully occupied until that is done. That was the agreement, Your Worship, right, between the municipality and the public health and the HAG. So it has to be fixed before. So it's something that NWC is actively working on sorting out. So we're aware of the issue and we're pushing and working hard to resolve it.
Thank you, MP Lee. We'll take the next question.
Hello, my name is Valerie Simpson. I am the president of Cardiff Hall Homeowners Association. Firstly, I do have a question on roads, but I would like to say, for me, sitting here in this meeting, I commend you, Minister, you, MP Lee, and also Mayor Stewart, and your surrounding officers for the work that you have done so far.
Thank you.
I voted for change, and I can see change. I am a return resident. I came back to Jamaica after I left as a child. And I came back, and I must say, I was very, very disappointed over the earlier years of my return. What I can see now, and I can honestly say it open-heartedly, you are trying. That is something that I have never seen. This meeting, it must be the first because I've never heard of one. And I find it very informative. I really do appreciate all the information that you've given us. The community hear you. We heard your voice. And really, Minister McKenzie, my intention really was to come and scream at you about roads and drains and waste management. But all the questions were answered, so I don't have to scream at you. And I thank you all for the information that you have given us.
Okay,
and Tracy Fakori, I'll be having a word with you, but not today.
All right, thank you for your
all.
comments.
Thank you
We
very,
appreciate
very much.
them.
Thank you.
We'll take the last question now. We'll take the final question from the floor.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marsha Simpson. I am from Northwest St. Ann. And while I take off the mask, and while I do not have a question, I am here to big up my MP, big up Minister, big up yourself, Minister. Uno a work, uno a try. Uno a try. They might come and try putting down, but uno a try. Everybody know Mr. Clark. I am not, Mr. Clark don't know me, but everybody know Mr. Clark from ODPEM. Everybody know Miss Duncan from Poor Relief. Everybody know Miss Auntie Pam up at FCDC. And I know they don't know me, but those are names, those are ministries, those are companies, those are people who are working in our community. What care package we give out through SDC? Care package we kill. Some me not understand how people are gonna come and are gonna make some comment like uno na do, uno work. Big up on yourself. I feel good.
Thank you very much.
Big up yourself, Minister. You're nice. You work.
Thank you.
You're nice. No make nobody make you feel bad. Uno do well.
Thanks for your comments, Minister. We will give the last word. Minister, you have a comment before I close?
Just to say a special word of thanks to the Social Development Commission, the SDC, for being the body on the ground to organize today's town hall meeting. This is the 4th town hall meeting that we have had. And I am bold enough to say to you that it is the top of the 4 that we have had so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. At this time, my task is easy. I know it's late and we want to go home, so I have some final thank yous to offer before we stand for the national anthem. So let me thank the Honorable Minister Desmond McKenzie, MP Crystal Lee, MP Xavier Maine, MP Marsha Smith, Councillors Winston Brown, Councillor Ian Bell, His Worship Mayor Councillor Sidney Stewart, Mr. Anthony Hines, Tracy Fakuri, Richard Lunan, Tanya Hampston, Dante Matthews, Anna Tucker Abrams, Mr. Evan Thompson, Ravel Morris from the St. Anne MC, Kendra Daly, our poet, our partner agencies, the Social Development Commission, the Jamaica Fire Brigade, St. Anne Municipal Corporation, the JPS, the NWA, NSWMA, our media partners, NNN, Power 106, GIS. At this time, I'd just like to say, all rise for the national anthem. Thank you and safe travels home.
The sun shall not smite I by day, nor the moon
know who to big up more. If it is Inspire who just gave us that inspirational song, or the band on the stand. Did y'all hear the musical genius? Just with the acoustic and then the whole band. I'm just loving it, man. Forever inspiring. Looking forward to hearing more from you later on. Our next performer is a staple on the music scene and never disappoints. Big belly, no shame, energy. Take him as he is. Look here, let us take him in the Nazaman.
Sure.
Everybody! Whoa! You want to see everybody just keep on dancing, man? Just live a nice again, get up out on the chair. All right, hey, Uncle Benji, in the yard, sit down on a stone. Wife and picnic on a bride, left him all alone. Wonder what kind of festival could I make him stir for him one born. So we drop this aversion in the yard, sinners weep and mourn. Everybody dance and wine. Hey, play the music, jump like the dummy belly. Jump, sip your water, love your daughter, just play your music. Jump, smoke your pipe and feel alright and play the music. Jump, no matter what you do, you can't get through on this. Play the music. Alright. Jump, bongo natty, don't a race course, a sell no star. Him no check the festival, make the float them go on. When this a virgin busting I made from I was born. We never see so much people on them finger with the force on. We will not play love festival. Play the music, jump like never be. Sip your water, love your daughter, play the music. Festival is a time for fun, dance and sing along. So all you are going to, and where we are going to, without the music, roll the belly. Misefi, play the music, jump like a bee. Sip your water, love your heart, play the music. Smoke your pipe and feel alright and play the music. You want to what you can't get you on this. For you know bad man, we are man. Jump. You remember butterfly? Whoa. Lady. Say, go on, man. Attitude. Yeah. Who can talk like that?
Look here. Timmy put on false eyelash on me. I refuse to laugh and ball off the little lash them. If you only saw Nazaman's belly and did not see him shoes on the wicked, you see the boot? No, sir, Nazaman come for the money. He need money to replace them boot. Look here, Nazaman, thank you, loving the message, loving the energy, to clap him. Now the message, I gotta make sure we take a quick break because after that, hey, and then butterfly, we're gonna make sure we come back with more. We need a break. So look out, it's a live results show for the Jamaica Festival Sound Competition. And you know, say we soon forward. You're doing well.
This is the land of my birth.
The Civil Emancipation Jubilee is back again at Civil Heritage Park, St. Anne's Bay on July 31. Come see traditional cultural groups like Port Morant coming up and the Charleston Maroons alongside Marcel Griffith, Sister Pat, and many more. Come ring in Emancipation Day with us at Civil Emancipation Jubilee, and it's free. St. Anne's Bay, July 31, all night till daylight. Reignite the African spirit at Jamaica 60th event.
Come out and join us! Jamaica's 60 Independence Float and Street Parade as we dance through the streets of Kingston. See the half-mile spectacle on wheels, starting at Randy Williams on Hope Road, onto Halfway Tree Road, Oxford Road, en route to the National Stadium. The Jamaica 60 Independence Float and Street Parade, Emancipation Day, August 1. Join the dancing through the streets from 10 a.m. or catch us live on TVJ and TVCJ. The Jamaica 60 Diamond Jubilee crowns its queen, and you are invited. Join us as festival queens from all parishes across Jamaica come together at the National Indoor Sports Center for the grand coronation. The talent, the fashion, the personalities. Who will be crowned? Join us at the National Indoor Sports Center on Emancipation Day, August 1st at 4:30 p.m. or catch us live on TVJ and PBCJ.
Hey, hey, we are live and you can feel the vibe. It is definitely a show that you want to not be watching it on screen, but we say big up to those who are on screen because it's nice here at Indoor Sports. I lie. Y'all agree? You should be here. Don't miss the next shows, okay? It is, of course, the big show, Jamaica Festival Sound Competition 2022. The theme for Jamaica 60 is Reigniting a Nation for Greatness. Good job, Festival Queens. And we're doing so tonight. 7 of our finalists have already graced the stage, and it's time to introduce the final 3. And that's for their song. Don't forget, they're coming back. They're coming back. We're kicking off this segment with one. One. When I say one, you say one. One. One.
Hey, hey. Man. My, me want a celebrity wife and I'm alive. Hey, 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 hey. We now come a shop like Crystal and with a hot cup of coffee, but she teeny. Would I just love it, shang with the preemie. Have a feeling she'd feel me. Twice would that do me right, but me no want get high. They go want a night from Makadai, I'm a reborn. But me wouldn't like end up in a gully pop and make a fight. When me I look somebody and I just hand a party, we want a VIP girl. Slim as and fatty, if a hottie me done knocking out, me want a VIP girl. Me want a lady with a big face. One man do already another only fans page. Even if me have a mate, good woman scarce. Me want a VIP girl. She pretty and she bright and she witty. We cut size, now she right. Fit me with me. I shine a drama, foot a hype, miss it. Kinda like Tanya, but the eyes tricky. I would rather Leela, I care. Wonder if Curvy Diva would the like me. Try off her head on, but she fly away. Be young lady, so figure fast and pray. When me I look somebody, and I just send a party, me want a VIP girl. Slim as and fatty, if a hottie me done knocking on me, want a VIP girl. Me want a lady with a big face. One man do her body another only fans page. Even if never made it, good woman scarce. Me want a VIP girl.
All right. You know, you do a song like that when you well need the $3 million, you broke and you want a woman with money. Minister, why didn't he call your name? Minister Faithful, why never call him? Not have no sense. Him come and sing about Kitty, and he should have said, Minister Babsy Grange, and take me to Oregon. But he should have do. Get free flight and all these things, boy, as long as front row. God. Anyway, he leaves a mark wherever he performs. Hilarious, out to order on it one, and name 1-1. Of course, the women in the combination, you know it is some time for some estrogen up in here. We've seen one man, next man, next man, next man, next man. Guess what? The only female, the lone girl in the competition. I don't hear you putting your hands together. She stands with a beautiful name, Sakaj.
You can't tell them about my grub tonight. You can't tell them the way I win the capital of the Caribbean. Wave your hands like this if you're proud of Jamaica. Wave your hands like this now, yeah. Let me tell you about my girl. In the West Indies, girl, and the Antilles, Jamaica, my girl. And no food and water, sunshine and laughter. Capital of the Caribbean, them call we. Anywhere we go, people want be like we. We'll go and make come like tsunami. So let me tell you about the black, green and gold. And the people, them were talented and impactful. J-A-M-A-I-C-A. That's how we do it in a chamber. And anywhere we touch it, we lock down. Nowhere else can stop that place. We love Jamaica. And when you talk about influence, that is a language where we speak well fluent. We island might small, but we sing large. Me a talk about world class athlete, mash up any track meet, powerful black queens, this world. Artists like Bob Marley, activists like Marcus Garvey. Jamaica produce the greatest, breeding ground for greatness. Favored by Jamaica, stay blessed. And anywhere else me go, me I tell you say I pay stress. Stand back a yard, everything is irate. Let me tell you about the ground. And the people that be talented and impactful. A-A-M-A-I-C-A. That's how we do it. Jump down. And anywhere we touch, we lock it down. Nowhere else can stop that place. We love Jamaica. Jamaica love. I wanna feel Jamaica love. Jamaica love. I wanna feel Jamaica love.
A beautiful girl with a beautiful voice. Never underestimate the power of a woman. You know that. Great job, Sakaj. And now the last time we heard from this gentleman, he left us mesmerized with his smooth voice. The only man who can rival my voice tonight. I'm going to shut up my mouth when he starts singing. I'm going to have no shame to say, make enough noise. Me try. For Nitty Kochi.
Festival time. Baby, you see, everybody get ready. Come to the rock steady. It's festival time again. Yes. Keep on moving. Keep on grooving. It's festival time again. Let me hear you sing, boom, boom, ba ba boom, boom. This is festival, boom, boom, ba ba boom, boom. This is festival, boom, boom, ba ba boom, boom. This is festival, boom, boom, ba ba boom, boom. People are dancing, teenagers romancing. It's festival time again. Yeah. Keep on a moving. Keep on a moving. It's festival time again. Let me hear you say, boom, boom, Baba. This is festival. Baba. This is festival. Baba, boom, boom. This is festival. Baba, boom, boom. This is festival. Festival time again. Oh, yeah. Baba, Baba, boom, boom. This is festival, boom, boom. Baba, boom, boom. This is festival, boom, boom. Baba, boom, boom. This is festival, boom, boom. Baba, boom, boom.
Why? Trouble! What a vibe! And what a voice! The Jamaicans are alive again. Nitty me say you coach it good time. But guess what? There's lots and lots and lots of talent overall. But no matter where you put us, of whom do I speak? No matter where you put us, whom you talk about? Yardies. We excel. If you agree, put your hands together. I can't wait to hear who our top 3 performers are. Also, guess what? Giving the prize for the best performer. Can't wait to hear who you give that to so far. Best performer so far. Who you think? Hello. But there's something else to look forward to as well. Holy things when we get back. The finalists take the stage. And again, this is the time. This is the moment for which you've been waiting. The festival songs. Which song is going to be our song for Jamaica 60? This is the Jamaica Festival Song Competition for 2022. Live on TVJ, and we will be right back.
This is the land of my birth. This is the land of my birth.
understand that Cherry or Baby, sometimes you welcome you back to the live performance show for the 56th Jamaica Festival Song Competition. That's Big E. We're 60 and the song competition is 56. That's just so big. Our 10 finalists graced the stage earlier with songs of their choice, really giving us a nice Jamaican vibe, a nice Jamaica 60 concert vibe. Now it's serious time. We're switching to the reason we are here tonight. The Jamaica Festival song. Who is going to be your winner? Only the top 3 will be awarded prizes later this evening. Plus, we have a sectional prize for the best performer. I know they are ready, so no long lele, no long talking. Let's get going without hesitation. Right now, first to hit the stage with his song. Guess who it is? Who is coming up? I'm a proud Jamaican. Who proud? Walk one with the noise. Magic flute.
Again, salted and roast yams. Oh God, what people? Are you ready for action? The gospel man. Although Jamaicans claim the doctrine and all, now we celebrating 60 years. We invited both young and old. Happy and saltfish with roast yam, breadfruit and also adore. Enough for everyone, so help me sing along. Part of the culture we love. Jamaica nice, Jamaica nice. We love the culture, love and we shine. I'm a boy Jamaican. I'm a boy Jamaican. Jamaica nice, Jamaica nice. We love the culture, love and we shine. I'm a boy Jamaican. I ain't Elders a play and we know that the chill spot. One praise a beer when they sing down. When we unleash them on the way down. Every time they your earpad cover now. So it no matter if a sun or we in and the snow. When you see a Jamaican you will know. Oh, many we are one that's always stay strong. Jamaica grows so we show. Jamaica nice, Jamaica nice. No paper. I'm a poor Jamaican. I'm a born Jamaican. Jamaican man. You know where the Jamaican stop. The flow to the Jamaican tonight. I don't want to fake and where the Jamaican stop. Now I'm one. It's still on way long. I saw the things yet. Tourists flying every day for them in check.